Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm talking about keeping your standards and your boundaries whilst you're manifesting a specific person and why you should always do that and never let those slip. And here's the reason why. You have to set boundaries in your mind. What are you prepared to accept? What are you prepared to accept and what aren't you prepared to accept? What are your standards? What is your value? And then you have to look at being protective of that and being your authentic self. When we're manifesting a specific person, it's very easy to lose that. It's very easy to be frightened of not accepting these things in case we cannot manifest. But the thing is, what happens then is when you lose your standards and you drop your standards, you don't stick to them, you don't stick to your values, you don't stick to your boundaries, what happens? You feel absolutely crap. So they come to you maybe and you have a bit of contact and then they go again. And in that time you realise what you did. You dropped your standards. You allowed it to happen again. And you have to stop allowing that, because what you allow will continue, because it's a signal that you're prepared to accept that. Not it is to them, but to reality as well. Then you will feel bad. And when you feel bad, your vibration drops and your self-worth drops. Everything starts to drop together. And then, you go on a bit further and maybe you think, no, I am going to stick to those standards. And then you hear from them and then you drop those standards again. And what those standards are nothing to do with me. They're your standards, what is acceptable to you, what you are prepared to accept, what you're not prepared to accept. And I would suggest you just make a list of them. And then if this person comes into your life and doesn't meet those standards, you just let them go for now. And I know it's easy to say, well, you just let them go for now. But the thing is, if you're having to drop your standards in order to get this person, then it's not worth it, is it? It's never going to make you happy, because you're not actually living your best life. You're not actually being that best version of you for you. Not a best version of you for them, but your best version for you. If you start feeling good about yourself, thinking, no, these are my standards and I'm going to stick to those no matter what, and then if they do pull away again, at least you can say, well, I stuck to my standards. I did not let those standards drop. I didn't let them trample over my boundaries. I didn't open up the boundary and let them in. So you don't have that added bit of feeling crap with it. But at least then, you don't have to also concede that you let your boundaries drop. I totally do get that it's hard when you really want someone in your life. But when you can see a pattern, when you know that this is a pattern, they come back, they go again, they come back, they go again, maybe they don't come back at all and you haven't had any contact for ages, you still need to know in your head that you are going to stick to your boundaries. Whatever happens, you are going to stick to those standards. And you'll feel some empowerment when you say, no, I'm going to be my authentic self. I am me. This is me. I'm not going to pretend to be any version of me that doesn't feel good to me, that doesn't feel right, just to get a person, just to keep them interested. Because it's hard work pretending to be something that you're not. And why should you pretend to be somebody you're not? And why want somebody in your life that expects you to be something that you're not in order to be interested in you? And of course, inevitably it will go again anyway when you're pretending. So those standards and values are all important. But again, I get it, it does take an element of bravery, but I think you need to get to that point kind of naturally. So sometimes somebody telling you that and then you not feeling it won't be your time to do it, but you will do it at some point. You will come into your own and think, no, this is not me, this is not authentically me, I have to be authentically me. Because even though you might be disappointed when somebody doesn't meet those standards, at least you've stuck to them. At least you said, no, this is me. If you don't like it, then there's the door. And as I said before, in a short, your value is not in a text from a person. It's not in a call from a person. You are way more than that. That is not where your value lies. And do not place your value in that. Just don't do that. Look at yourself objectively as somebody else would look at you and pick out all the good points and think, actually, I'm all right. I'm okay as I am. I don't need to be any different than I am. When you're actually being authentically yourself and you're living in your actual energy, this is me, then people are more attracted to that. People are attracted to that confidence and that authenticity. So you can't lose doing it. You just cannot lose. The more you practice that and thinking, no, this is me. And a good way to start practicing it is just in general life, when you're asked to do something and you really don't want to do it and you say yes to it when you mean no. And so you might be a people pleaser, which makes it even more difficult when you're doing this. But people pleasing generally I'm not saying in all cases, but when I used to do it, and I was always saying yes to things I didn't want to do, it was because I didn't like feeling uncomfortable. To say no to something was really uncomfortable, so I would end up saying yes, but then I'd have to do that thing that I didn't want to do. You know, I'd get myself into a position where I think, why didn't I just say no? And now if I do not want to do something, no, I don't do it. I just do not do it. And I don't feel bad about it. And I even say no to things that friends might ask that I really don't want to do, and I will just say no, and I feel so much better for doing that. I'll explain why. I'm not just sort of really brutal about going, no, I don't want to do that. I'll explain why I don't want to do it. And I just think, okay, I've stopped myself from having to do something I don't want to do now. And do you know what? People, as far as I am aware, people don't mind. I've not had anybody that's minded when I haven't wanted to do something and I've said no to things. It's just us, that it is uncomfortable. And it's easier to say yes, but bear in mind that it's not easier really, because then you have to do that thing that you've said yes to. But again, that goes along with this when you're trying to manifest a specific person. It's a people-pleasing thing. You want to be what you think they want to see. You want to do that. You want to make them happy, and then you want it to work out based on that, but it never will, because you're always going to go back to what you are really. And if you're constantly not, so you're constantly pretending to be something different, you are constantly working hard at it, it's a struggle, you get exhausted. And why should you not be you? If you can't be you, it isn't worth it. People will accept the true you, the real you. You have to be brave and think, no, this is me, and I am going to stick to that at all costs. I'm going to stick to my standards and my values at all costs. If you've got it in your head that this person will not accept me unless I'm this way or that way, they don't like this about me, they don't like that about me, first of all, that is a story that you're telling, so you are going to see that unfold for you the more you tell that story. So stop that story, but then remind yourself of real life that we're living now, which we have to get along with and live. Why would you want to be with anyone that does not accept you for who you are? You know, that just means you're not in alignment with this person at the moment. Obviously, everybody's situation is different, but really these things that you think somebody won't accept you for who you are is actually just a story that you're telling. So reality cannot fail to give you what you are saying, to give you what you're feeling, because it's an algorithm and it works the same for everybody. There's no exception to the rule. So the first thing to do really is just to stop telling yourself that story, but also know that in the meantime, if there is a meantime, you are going to be you, and you are going to stick to those standards and your core values above anything else. So at least then you will not feel rubbish about letting those go. Right, I hope this is useful. If you don't know anything about me, I'm an author, manifesting coach and a mindset coach. My books will be on my site within the next 2 weeks. I've also got another one coming out to go alongside Get Back With Your Ex, which is Still Want to Get Back With Your Ex. So it's a second, it's an add-on really to that, because I've had a lot of people say, are you going to do another one? And I find I'm halfway through it. I haven't finished it yet. It's not a long book. Get Back With Your Ex I think is only about 25 pages, so it'll probably be roughly the same. But that again will be available on my website soon. Thanks so much for watching.